Now let's say your observation is in some way dependent on the weather. That's pretty reasonable for any animal behavior, especially winter migration. A curious question might be whether she started moving before or after it was cold enough to start snowing. Meaning, did she try to get to her wintering ground before winter? We can access that data through climatereanalyzer.org. I'll give you a link to that in Brightspace. And we want to go to the daily reanalysis and see ice maps. The default is to display the anomaly, or the difference against the base or average for the period 1979 to 2000. Let's change that to maximum temperature 2 meters off the ground. And if we scroll down here, we can see what these colors mean. So this blue here would be about -10. And that's in degrees Celsius, so we can see where we go from blue to green, that's the threshold of freezing, so 0. So right there is where you would expect to go from freezing to thawed. And we were looking at the month of November in 2014. So let's go back to there. November 2014. And let's go from the world to North America, which is about as close as we're going to get. So here we are in November 2014, looking at North America, and again, degrees Celsius. That change from blue to green is the threshold of freezing. And we see a nice white line where that threshold is on each day. And to move within the month, you just click and hold this slider and move it around. So we can see here in northern Maine and Quebec, where our deer was hanging out, on the 8th of November, we have a dip below freezing for the one-day average of that date. And then we're back above freezing again. Remain above freezing for the most part. That could be just a touch below freezing where she was here. Can't tell exactly. Would have to refer to the map again to see. But that's November the 11th. Our deer moved on November the 20th. So still 9 days from now. Above freezing, below again. Well below freezing now. Below freezing, below freezing, below freezing. Very cold on the 19th. So this shade of blue looks to be about -5, which is about 23 degrees Fahrenheit. And on the following day when she actually moved, it remained cold. And from there it looks like she's staying pretty cool, except for the 23rd got above freezing again. And stayed that way for a couple of days, and then back below for the 27th, and again at the end of the month. So unfortunately we don't have a snow cover map that goes back this far. But we have a very cold day the day before she started to move. Does that prove that a very cold day triggers a deer to move from its summer area to its winter area? No. But it allows us to make the observation and the hypothesis that maybe that is what triggers the movement. And then that hypothesis would be tested using more samples, more deer, more collars, more years. So for this assignment, you have 1 deer for 1 year. That rhymes. And what you're doing is making an observation and a hypothesis that attempts to explain that observation, and you're going to use this temperature information to help inform that observation and that hypothesis.